Okay, let's broadcast live.
There we are. I see you.
Okay, good, great. Good morning. All right.
Hey, good morning. Friday morning. Facebook Live Friday morning.
Yay. Happy Friday, Sean.
Happy Friday, Jay.
All right. And our show is brought to you this week by
Heyler Realty and all our activities in real estate that actually finance this opportunity for us to outreach to those people that are our viewers and friends and family, past clients, all alike. We're grateful for all of you. You're keeping us busy in these crazy times. So we are very, very grateful.
Yeah, crazy is like the name of the game this week, isn't it? Just the house on the corner of my street was on fire yesterday. You said a house was on fire on Pelham last night.
Yes, yeah, last night. Yeah, there's just seems to be this kind of almost like frenetic energy that's out there.
Just got to be careful, I guess.
Kind of crazy, you know, so that's what always makes this. Paying attention, definitely want to pay attention. We're dealing with a lot of inner city type issues now as things are congested and people are out and about and restless, I think. 6 months of pandemic, being cooped up by a pandemic, have caused people to be a little bit more agitated. And I definitely see it when I'm looking outside the office and you see this kind of population move by. It's definitely different times, you know, for sure. So, you know, we think about health and well-being, mental safety. I don't think the fire's helped either. I think the gray skies, it's the first day I could see blue in over a week, which is lovely.
Well, I'm really concerned about, obviously, you know, Mount Wilson and Griffith Park Observatory and all the equipment, and as well as, you know, iconic things kind of being in jeopardy and right now. And so really kind of on edge about the Bobcat fires, obviously, and concerned for any continued loss of property as well as damage that's going on out there. And of course, the air impact and how all of this is playing. So it does put us on edge. And you and I are pretty positive people anyway, and we look for the bright side in things. However, I feel like this last 2.5, almost 3 weeks now of just continued engulfing in flames and all across Northwest is pretty concerning, you know?
Well, it definitely speaks to a lot of different things, and you can argue for time and resources and why, but the bottom line is there's a great cost. There's a great cost in terms of manpower and people that are out there working as emergency responders and the exhaustion of that job. There is a pallor over the city and the state of just kind of darkness and gray skies and poor air quality. And we know that real health begins in the blood, and oxygen is the primary thing that your body needs to sustain itself. And so, you know, the fact that we are all kind of a little bit more deprived of that, you know, we were just going through our house, changing all of our filters, and I change them kind of habitually every 3 months. It's just something I do. I couldn't even tell you how disgusting that the main filter was. I was like, right. And you know, there's a MERV rating, right? So there's a microfiber MERV. You want to get like an 11, an 8 or 11. And I tend to use 5s because they're cheap. I'm not doing 5s anymore after what I've seen on there. I was like, nope, I'm getting a better screening, right? So any old who, it's not to wax negative, because it's not negative. It's life, adversity, the things we overcome. The interview we did the other day with Dre Norman. I can't wait for people to hear that interview. I'm excited for today's interview too, similarly, because it's about like finding the positive in everything, and that silver lining, and that hope, and that looking for brighter expectation. And that's up to us, right? So that's part of what this message is all about. That's why we love doing this. I mean, this is fun. And I do want the viewers to say, look, if you want to be interviewed, if you have somebody you want to nominate to be interviewed, send us those people, please, because we love talking to people. We love learning about life and through different perspectives and eyes and what people are accomplishing. And we want to be that voice, those eyes, ears, and voice for all of us to share that message. So if you're watching this and you have somebody to nominate, it could be yourself. Listen, come on down. We're willing to have the conversation. Well, come on down means virtually Zoom, but yeah, we'll do that, right?
I'm excited to talk about something positive, being outdoors, a game that I really enjoy, as do you, and to get a chance to talk to a dear friend. I met him back in 1995, so it's been a long time since I've known Derrick Allen. So let's get Derrick into the show and see how
that's fabulous.
Our outline works here. I guess I'm going to admit there's 2 Derricks going on here. Hey,
Oh, there's two
Derrick.
Derricks. Hi.
Yeah. Oh,
Hi,
Oh, I
Jay.
think
this
Derrick.
one we can move. Yeah,
There we
we
go.
can remove this one. All right. There we go. We got that one. All right. We had two Derricks in the waiting queue. Hey, Derrick, how are you? Great to see you, and thanks for coming on our show this morning. I'm just saying, God, I met you first back in 1994, 95, I think, was when I first met you out at the driving range.
I was
And
right out of high school.
You weren't even in high
Right.
school.
Me
You guys
too.
were both in grammar school. Don't even
Yeah.
fly that by me.
Exactly.
And Derrick was trying to protect me from, as a girl back then going to the driving range, there weren't that many women hitting a golf ball, right, Derrick? And he's walking by and some dude comes around and he's like, hey, you, what was it? He said, he's like, you in the LPGA or some pickup line that he was throwing out there. And Derrick was like laughing, like, ha, ha, look at this dude trying to pick up on her.
Those were pretty lame pickup lines, but they work sometimes.
Oh, that is so
It's
funny.
funny.
Derrick was like walking by laughing, like, huh, this dude ain't getting anywhere.
We were using that one in '67. So funny.
Well, good morning. Well, we
Been a
want to
long
check in
time,
and see
right?
how you're doing and what's going on out there. I know with air quality, maybe less people are golfing, but what have you been up to?
Derrick, it looks like it may have froze for a minute.
It's seen times. You froze up on me, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you now.
You froze
Loud
up,
and
Jay?
clear.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, great. Little lag. I'm not sure how I can explain it. It's kind of been interesting in terms of just in golf being the perfect pandemic sport and the type of people coming in. And so it's been like, wow. It's been kind of like, I'm not going to say a nightmare. It's been amazing for me because 95% of my customers never came back. But they got replaced with 95% new customers. So I'm happy,
Wow.
from a business perspective. So, looking at the dynamic, I've been like super busy and crazy. With that said, one of my primary businesses is golf camps and working with kids, and so we haven't been able to get our camps back in order, but my private business has taken off so much I haven't even really missed it, personally or financially.
Well,
so it's been kind of like I said, a weird dynamic. Yeah,
it's
kind of like a weird dynamic.
Derrick, I think it's important to share with our viewership that your tradition at a world-class park. I mean, probably the premier municipal golf course in California, certainly one of them, and one that is incredibly heavily used, a great resource for not only the city but visitors to this city, and the tremendous tradition. I mean, I took lessons from old Eddie Coleman when in the 1960s is when I started, the late 60s. And Rancho, when it was a single deck and it was a very different type of golf course and an atmosphere, and we were playing with just stiff, awful clubs, but I learned how to hit them. I remember he didn't let me hit anything for like a year but a 3-iron because he was old school, right? And but the truth of the matter was there's such a
really old school.
Oh, super old school. And he was an old school guy. I mean, I loved that. He was just that guy who just sat there and did that thing for so long. But to work in that environment, to carve your niche into this community, and it is awesome. It's an awesome achievement, and it shouldn't be. We as a community overall, Jay and I being aware and fans of the game, and Jay obviously having a great long-term relationship, know your level of dedication. We know you're tried and true. I mean, I want to emphasize to people that you've been at the forefront of developing youth for golf for youth, and really instructing kids and creating camps that have great reputations. I mean, I can't tell you when people saw that we were interviewing you on our Facebook Live, I probably got half a dozen messages. Oh, he taught me. And they were passionate about it. So, I mean, kudos to begin with. And I think we could talk a little bit about the Zen of golf and why it's such a great game. Because I want to share that passion with people to understand it's a wonderful mental, physical discipline. And it's a fun thing to do that you can do into your late stages of your life. And And I think you should be acknowledged for your contribution to the community very seriously. So thank you for taking the time even to be with us this morning, because it's cool.
No,
And
thank you for having me. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me. I guess where can I start? When you touched on the Zen of golf, let's just touch that a little bit. But I really want to kind of give you a sense of the scope and the depth of my youth programs. But first, I'll talk about the Zen. I tell all the parents that, look, hey, if you're going to teach kids any sport, teach them golf first. Give them at least an introduction to golf. And that way, it builds such a great personal foundation. It gives the kids insight into how to control their emotions, how to basically interact with other people, strangers on the golf course, and strangers themselves, etiquette, other kids, the do's and don'ts. And it also gives them insight into basically how they think, and it helps them organize the anger, the frustration, everything that's involved in learning how to control golf involves controlling your emotions and getting an understanding of why I can't be successful at one thing. Basically, when she first came in after I shooed away the wolves, to hit one for me. And Jay fires one down there, down the middle. I go, ooh, okay. She has a little bite to her. And she just piped it down there. And she said, okay, what was that? What was wrong with that? I'm going, well, that was a perfect shot. What do you mean what's wrong with it? And so she always had that powerful swing, but the finesse side actually took a little more coaching. She's like, power the ball.
See, you know the real Jay Woo. So I know you know the real Jay Woo.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's power the ball down there. And I said, well, why don't you try chipping one here, Jay? Nice and soft. He said, pew! And I go, okay, we a little work on that one.
So I know that. I know. I've seen her do that. Boy.
So I said, oh, a little wallflower with a bite. And I figured out fast enough that I didn't have to be around to protect her around the wolves. She could handle herself when I wasn't around. And so then I kind of tell her, well, when a guy comes over and says, hey, you need help with your swing, and you should just go watch this for a second. And she would hit a couple shots for him. They say, okay, that's a really good swing. Call me later. Somewhere along those lines.
Derrick, you talked about something that I think is so fundamentally important in our society. And it's so foundational in golf. So I really want to emphasize this to people that are listening and viewing, because sometimes golf is a little bit hard for people to understand because it is a frustrating game. It appears to be super simple, but it's a game of literally centimeters and millimeters at times, and or tempo versus power versus finesse versus being able to read the signs and adapting to all the changing conditions that are always new and are always different. I mean, as a golfer, I just stand amazed at people that really play at a high level, because I know that discipline that it takes, that quiet of mind, body, and coming into a relationship and comfort with your own self, like how you move and your body mechanics. So I think the idea of that foundation for children, and I would want to emphasize to anybody, you want to give a child a real gift. I agree with you. I think golf is probably the very first one. That was how I was raised. I was raised by golf first, and then tennis was second, and because they were social games, right? And then we could work on team sports, individual to team, and
physical.
And so that you really build something where you learn about adversity and how to overcome it. Now, I truthfully have had an awful temper on a golf course, and I remember training with someone at one point. I think I was in like a little pro-am, like a charity pro-am. And I went up and hit the ball, and I was just all frustrated. And the pro walked by me and went, no offense, but you're not that good to be mad about that shot.
Yeah. Let's keep it in perspective, Tiger Woods.
Ego descended, and then all of a sudden my mind opened. And he was right. It was this opening of mind. It was accepting. I mean, golf is just such a wonderful lesson like that. And I don't want people, sometimes there's a little bit of almost like a bias, like it's maybe too elitist. And here you are as a black man in this culture in this part of the city, so to speak, which was predominantly very white for a very long time. And I love to see how the facility is melding. But here you are staking a claim and saying, no, respect me and the game and the culture. What do you see, my skin, or just see me as the man and the ability? And I think you've transcended that. I mean, I truly do. I think you're one of those people that are very seminal for that. And so many people I know trust their children to you, that bring them to your camps. Even one of our agents, Greg Egamo, his son Brandon Egamo, trained with you for a number of years. Or my neighbors Robert and Brown and Lisa Brown brought over Stephen and Connor. Those guys became like national caliber golfers, you know.
But
and they
you know
all,
what's great is a lot of people don't know how Derrick even got to be a golf coach. I love your story because Derrick's a great golfer. And you were trying to get on the tour, right, Derrick?
Yeah, you know, I grew up as a caddy in Michigan. And I grew up as a caddy. My little story, I grew up as a caddy in Michigan. Some guys came to the golf course, to our middle school, which was near the country club of Lansing, in Lansing, Michigan, where I grew up. And they say, hey, you kids want to earn some money? I said, yeah, you know, go try this out. And so before I know it, I just, you know, I was on weekends, I was at the country club of Lansing with these big, huge staff bags that were bigger than myself. And I was lugging them around, lugging them around for Mr. Johnson, right? and so I would so then I sit there and watch these guys play military golf, like that way, left, right, kind of work their way down. You know, I'm going like so boy. And it exposed, but you know, I was fortunate because golf exposed me to another side of life. You know, my mother at some point when I was 14 got divorced, and she had 4 or 5 kids, so she was a single mother. So any income that I had actually helped us out. And so I started caddying, and I realized that the only way for me to get to college was for me to get myself through college, because my mom had a lot of responsibility on her hands. So I didn't want to make myself the oldest part of that responsibility. So I kind of took charge, and I realized in golf that you can work. They had something called an Evans Scholarship, which they give to golfers. And that Evans Scholars, basically, if you are fortunate to get a scholarship, they'll pay your way through college based on, and the ranks come from caddies, and basically caddies.
So that would be motivating.
You know, oh yeah, very, very motivating. So what I decided was that mother wasn't going to be able to pay my way for college. I was going to have to do it on my own. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try to get an Evans Scholarship. And so at that time, as a caddy in Lansing, Michigan, we had 1,000 caddies. I started working my way up the ranks from a C caddy to a B caddy to an A caddy, which is the top caddy, you're paid the most. And eventually I worked my way up into the pro shop as the caddy master. Wow. And all of a sudden I had 1,000 caddies under me, and I used to train them every day. And so then from there, I was fortunate. I did not get the Evans Scholarship, but as the caddy master, I did learn how to play golf, because all of a sudden I was in the pro shop. And I remember doing a report for the pro, because I had to interview for the job, right? They said, okay, Derrick, you want to try this? And I said, okay. So I interviewed for the job, but what I did was I did a report on how I would change the program. And it was like 15 pages long with diagrams and everything. And during our interview, I handed this to the pro. So the pro's flipping through it, and his eyes are getting big. And I'm looking at him going like, you okay? And he's going like, this is amazing. He didn't expect it. He didn't expect me to, and here I was a junior, I was a senior in high school that year. And I'm not sure why he didn't think I was this ambitious, or he didn't think I was this organized. I'm not even sure he thought I was going to school. He looked up the report and goes, this is amazing, Derrick. And I said, yeah, I had to deliver something like that to Mr. Johnson in science the other week. So I just kind of changed it up a little bit. Did some diagrams on how I would change the program. He loved it. I got hired as a caddy master. He was literally taking it around the clubhouse, showing it to all the members. Look what Derrick did. Look what Derrick.
Wow.
And so I got the job. I worked my way up through the ranks. I didn't get the Evans scholarship, but one day during the spring, I was at a driving range after work, and a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I've been watching you for like 20 minutes. You have an amazing swing." And he goes, "Do you play for any college or anything?" I said, "Well, I just graduated, and no, I don't." He says, "I think my coach would love to have you on our team."
Wow.
He was an alumni, and he says, I'm gonna send him a letter." With true story, within a week, I got a letter of intent to play for Jackson State University in Mississippi. This was probably in January or March when I met this guy. By September, I'm in Jackson, Mississippi at the Jackson State University playing for the golf team and playing for Eddie Payton, who happened to be Walter Payton's brother, because he was the football coach at Jackson State. One of the football coaches, and all because of once I got into the caddy program and I started playing, I had to train the caddies every morning. So I would take 100 caddies every morning, and I would assign each kid a bag, and I would play 4 holes and play 9 holes. And each kid I hit 4 balls off the tee, hit 4 second shots, and each kid had to follow each ball and go wait for me. And I was teaching them basically how to become caddies. And I did that for a summer, and I actually got rather good. And I got the scholarship, ended up in Jackson, Mississippi. From there, I stayed 1 year. And hey, Jackson, Mississippi, that year, I took second place in the National Black Intercollegiate, and decided that I didn't like Jackson, Mississippi for whatever reason. And so I wonder why. I transferred to the University of New Orleans, where I went to where I got accepted and in their business program, their business school. And I spent 5 years in New Orleans, which was an amazing experience. I got to travel all over the South, going to all the traditionally Black universities. So it was an amazing experience, and golf kind of pushed me in that direction to say, hey, I can go to college, I can get a degree, and look at all these Mercedes. Boy, I want one of those or something like that. Yeah, hey, and the members were very, 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 very kind, and they would, and I would ask questions. I would say, "What's a conglomerate?" When I was 14, I said, "What's a conglomerate? What do? You own 15 dry cleaners, and how did you do that?" And they were very free with basically their information to look, this is how I did it, this is what you want to do. And I said, a conglomerate, what type of businesses do you have in your conglomerates? Some of the really nice members. So it was a great incubator for a very inquisitive kid that had just a little ambition. And I just put one foot forward, and after school I decided I wanted to turn pro and play golf. I came to Los Angeles, and by chance of one of the pros, I'm not sure if you remember, but you remember Ben Hagen. So Ben Hagen was one. Sure, you remember Ben? Well, Ben Hagen was the reason I came to Los Angeles, because one of my friends in New Orleans I said, hey, I want to turn pro. I just need guidance from a pro to help me. He said, I know a pro in Los Angeles that would be willing to help you. I sent Ben a letter. Ben sent me a letter back saying, you're more than welcome to come to LA, and I'll give you a job and I'll train you. And within 2 months, I had packed my bags on the way to Los Angeles.
Wow.
That's a story. That's a story for another time. No, the adventure started when I decided that instead of buying a conversion van that had a bed in it and that was well appointed and that looked like you could live in it for like years and just live your life and not be anyone's burden, I decided that I wanted to buy a VW bus. Where does nostalgia come in getting from A to B? Make a long story short, I bought the VW bus and drove from New Orleans all the way to Los Angeles on an air-cooled engine through Texas and 200-degree heat that breaks down between Texas, between Houston and El Paso. I'm not sure if you've been on that road between Houston and El Paso. Oh, there's nothing. I mean, there's absolutely nothing. And I remember breaking down, and my friend goes, There's more to this story, but I'm not. But I'll make it really quick. Leaving New Orleans, and this to give you a gist of the story. Leaving New Orleans, we got stopped in the middle of the night out of Baton Rouge. 20 cop cars. This is no joke. 20 cop cars, and I had all my video equipment and golf clubs in the back. We get started middle of the bayou, and my partner, who's a golfer, he's from New Orleans. We get stopped by 20 cop cars, and my friend goes, "Oh crap, we're in trouble." I go, "Why?" And because I'm from north, he said, "Look, we're in the bayou, and we got stopped by 20 cop cars." So he goes, so I go like, "Oh, okay." So I get out of the car, and I go to the back, and the officer says, "Can you step out of your van, please?" 20 cop cars, no joke. We go in the back, and he goes, "Hey, we want to search your van for contraband." And I go like, "There's no contraband. We don't have any drugs or anything like that." He says, "Well, where are you going with all that stuff in the back? Golf clubs and camera equipment?" Go, "Well, California." He goes, "You're a long ways from California." I said, "Yeah, we're on the way." And he goes like, "Can we search your van?" And I go, "No." And so then he goes, "Well," he puts a piece of paper on the hood of the police car behind the van. He said, "Can you sign here that we can search your van?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, I think you better think about it." And I go, "Okay, let me ask my partner." So I go back to the driver's side window. The cop comes with me, and I ask my partner, "Hey, can I let them? I'm not gonna let them search the van." And my partner looks at me with these crazy eyes, goes, "Are you crazy? Let them search it. Let them search it." I said, "Okay," because he's from New Orleans, right?
We're in the bayou.
We're in the bayou. He said, "Let them search it." I said, "Okay." So I go back and I said, "Okay, you can search it." So I'll sign it, right? I said, "You can search." And they go to the side and they open up the door. My partner's just stiff in the front
Hands on the dash. Simple.
They start pulling stuff out and looking. All of a sudden, the walkie-talkie crackles. Like, we got a code 16. The policeman officer says, he says, "Code 16. All right, Roger." All the cop cars start peeling off, taking off. And I asked the cop next to me, I go, the police officer, I go, "What's a code 19 or something like that?" He goes, "We have a riot or just a civil disturbance." And I said, "Okay." So I'm standing there. He throws a couple things in back in, and then just leaves everything out. And he gets in his car, and everyone just
peels out.
Stuff, right? Sirens blazing. And all of a sudden it's pitch dark. I'm still standing there going like,
what just happened?
I should wait for them to come back. I'm looking at ours go off into the distance, right? I guess I'll stay here until they come back. My partner gets out of the car and said, "What are you doing?" I go like, "Well, they didn't say we could leave." He goes, "Get the stuff in the car. Let's get it."
That's a great story. That's a great story. I mean, it's just. Wait.
This is the just a little more. This is just the beginning of the journey. And I'll tell you one more quick story. So we jump in the car, we take off, not stop for gas, bathroom, or food for like 6 more hours. And that VW bus was humming. We even went to Houston. I said, "We got enough gas, let's go." It overheats, and this is a testament to golf. And then we'll kind of move on a little bit. Halfway between El Paso and between Houston and Paso, there's nothing. About 200 miles outside of El Paso, the van breaks down. It putters to the side, and we're in the middle of nowhere. I go, "We're in trouble." And he goes, "Man, we're breaking down." I literally looked out the window, and there's already a furnace because there's no air conditioning. I literally looked outside and stuck my head out the window, and there's vultures circling ahead. And I go, "We're in trouble." So I get out, and it's hot, and I tell my friend, I go, "We're in trouble." He goes, and I look at him. I go, "I'm gonna get out and take a look at the engine for a second." And I go, "What are you gonna do?" He says, I'm gonna make myself a sandwich." And I go, a sandwich. he goes, how can you think of eating at this time? He says, I'm hungry. I said, but a sandwich, we're gonna die. he says, I go, Jesus, you thinking of a sandwich. So what I do is I go outside and I go to the side of the road. We're on the side of the road, right? And I put my thumb out, right? And you know how you ever see the Griswolds family vacation? Cars are zooming past 70 miles an hour. And the cars never stopped. And I got my thumb out like I'm hitchhiking. And I can see the kids in the windows looking out the window going like, with their noses, with the noses to the car, just passing me by. So I said, this is not good. Black guy at the side of the road with his thumb out, right? Who's gonna stop? All I see is station wagons and Griswold family vacations flying past, right? So I said, so then something came into my head. I go, oh, okay. I walk back to the van and my partner goes, what are you doing? His name is Charles. Charles says, what are you doing? I go, I got an idea. And I said, grab your golf clubs. He said, what are you talking about? Grab your golf clubs. I said, just grab your golf clubs and come with me. Jesus, are you done with your sandwich? He said, yeah, I'm done. I said, so I had been on the road for like a half an hour. I go back and we grab our golf clubs and I say, just stand right next to me, right over here. And he says, what are you doing? Just stand here and just hold your bag. I did this. Within 10 minutes. It may have been 5 minutes. A car, no, I kid you not. A car goes, pulls over, and the guy says, he goes, what's your problem? I go, oh, our van broke down and we're on our way to El Paso, which is 205 miles away. The guy goes, oh, okay, you guys need a ride? I go, yeah, that'd be awesome. He says, I go, hey, I have video equipment and some more personal belongings that I don't want to leave on my van. The guy happened to be in a Bronco with extra space in the back, a Ford Bronco. I remember it to this day. He was a Marine that was traveling to El Paso. He said, yeah, I'm going that way. You guys just throw all your stuff in, whatever you want.
What?
We threw in our golf club. In our golf clubs, all of our personal equipment fit in the back, camera equipment, and we took off going to El Paso. This all happened so quickly.
You left the VW bus?
Left the VW bus.
It's broken down.
Drove to El Paso and stayed the night, rented another truck, rented a car, drove all the way back, towed it back to El Paso and got it fixed. The guy wouldn't take a dime from us. He wouldn't take 1 cent. We said, and for 2 hours, we sat and chatted. He was a Marine. He was being transferred. And he was more than happy to help us. An amazing story. There's more story. There's a couple more stories. The van broke down 3 more times before I got to Los Angeles. But we'll save that for another time because they're hilarious. They're just make this. And so golf, kind of, it gives you opportunity. If you're open to different things, different circumstances, you learn how to communicate at all levels, and it just happens to open doors for you. And so that story with those golf clubs on the side of the street, the road in the middle of nowhere, and just proves that golf in its true attracts people of a certain nature that is beyond reproach. And so it's amazing. It's been an amazing journey. One of my first, back at the Country Club of Lansing, one of my first celebrity clients was Bobby Riggs.
Oh, good. The tennis player.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bobby Riggs, the tennis player. And they, I was the caddy that they assigned for Mr. Riggs because I was the top caddy. And it was funny. He got ran out of town about a week later because he had told the members that he was a 15 handicap and he shot 71. So
he was a hustler.
So he fleeced them out of like $25,000. And it was crazy because they were telling me because I caddied for him for 2 days, and then he had told me
maybe because you were just a really good caddy, and it was
I'm
just kidding.
I could have partake. I could have helped him spend some of that money that he fleeced off the members, but
That's a great story.
but it's kind of funny. I said, "Where's Mr. Riggs?" Because he said he was going to come to play the next week, right? They said, "Did you hear what happened? He fleeced the members out of 25,000 because of that, and he took off."
That is so funny.
That was a
Didn't
Bobby
even
Riggs
know-
story. He was a
That's a
hustler.
He was hustling.
That's what
Bobby
happens
Riggs
when
was
you
a hustler.
gamble on the golf course. You know, you just never
Yeah.
know when
You
you're getting
never
hustled.
know. That's why I tell everyone, hey, the guy that hits the really bad shot on the first three or four holes, and then say, hey, you guys want to bet for lunch or something like that? Just hold off a little bit.
The hustle,
That's
right?
good advice. That's good advice.
Blow
Like playing
caution
poker
into
with
the
pocket
wind.
threes. Don't play them.
Especially if
What
they're
is-
real ugly shot.
I'm curious, Derrick, what is one of the most interesting people you were able to give lessons to at Rancho Park?
Well,
Because I know
I
you
got
had some
a-
interesting.
You have
Yeah.
some real.
I got some real doozies from Morgan Freeman, David Duchovny. When I gave David Duchovny a golf lesson at Rancho, he's, I'm giving him a lesson. He's looking at me going like, really? You really think that's the right answer? It looked like Mulder. But then from what looked like I was talking to Mulder when I was talking from the X-Files. Morgan Freeman, very colorful character. There's a funny story. I have funny stories with Morgan. I actually gave him a playing lesson like about 3 months ago on the par 3, just before the pandemic. Amazing guy, absolutely amazing, down to earth guy. One of my most interesting was President Clinton. The White House called the Rancho Park manager's office and said, "Hey, we need a golf pro to go out with the president. Are you available?" And I said, "Let me check my schedule." And before I knew it, within an hour, I was on the first tee with the president of the United States and Alan Greenspan, Roger Clinton, and Mayor Reardon, Mayor of Los Angeles.
Wow.
And we spent 6 hours on the golf course, telling jokes, giving tips. It was amazing. And President Clinton, we were about the 6th hole, about the 14th hole. Mayor Reardon came up to me and said, "Hey, Derrick, have you gotten a picture with the president?" I go, "No, you guys been hogging this time." And he said, "Hey, Bill, come on over here, give Derrick a picture." And so I was the only one to get a picture of myself and the president together, and we were the only two in the picture. And toward the end of the round, at the 18th hole, the president was sitting in his golf cart, and I was in my golf cart. And at that time, it had been an amazing experience being in the bubble with the Secret Service agents, the gauntlet, the SWAT teams on both sides. This was pre 9/11, so it wasn't even remotely probably what it would be now, the type of security, but it was still pretty impressive. And I was in the middle of the bubble, and I got up the courage to get out of my golf cart and go over to the president, and we started talking. And unbeknownst to me, the White House photographer starts snapping away, and about a month later, I get a package from the mayor's office, from Mayor Reardon, telling me to enjoy, Derrick. And it was pictures that the White House had sent the mayor's office of the president and myself talking in his golf cart.
That's
and we had
super cool.
Just a flat, down to earth talk, and he was a super nice guy, and we started chatting about how much of an inspiration that he gave me, and that he was really a role model by coming from basically simple beginnings and rising to the highest office in the world. So it was really, 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 really amazing, and it proved to me that this guy's just, what it taught me is that the power of just your presence. And in golf, that's why I tell people that look, how not only how you communicate, but just your confidence in who you are has the power to extend over people. And that's what makes a good executive. You have to be able to project power, energy, and control without verbally or physically saying it. You're just a package of who you are can deliver the control and power you need over people. And so that's why when people come for a golf lesson, I take charge. and I say, do this, do that. This is this, this is this. They said, well, I like my old grip. Well, you want to shoot 200 again, or you just want to pay me over and over again? Then they said, okay, I'll listen. And they listen. And, oh, okay. You have a point there. And I go, yeah, you can keep paying me, but I'd rather not look at the drama. My key is self perseverance, and that's the key. Hey, I wanted to also, so it's kind of interesting how all these things play out, and I tell and you learn from people, and I've been fortunate enough and from experience that a lot of times I don't talk and I just listen, and I learn just from their body language. What are they saying, even if it's not golf related? How to kind of get a feel for who I have in front of me, how I can best help them. So I've become an expert at reading, and that's probably why I work so well with kids. I read them and I understand them, and then I communicate with them in a way that makes them comfortable. And so I've just been able to communicate with them, and so it's real good. I've been fortunate, very, very.
And you've been
fortunate.
at Rancho Park how many years now, Derrick? It's been 30?
I'm gonna say 30, but it may have only been 15. Only because, at some point you got to pad your resume, right? So 32 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
32 years.
Yeah, about 32 years. I came here in 96. I keep forgetting, but it's been a long time. And so.
Well, that's what's amazing is golf is one of those few sports where you get a chunk of time where you have a downtime to be able to walk with somebody, especially if you have a caddy style golf versus a golf cart style golf, and walk the course and have that camaraderie and have the nature and outdoors and sports and all of it just kind of combined. It's one of those things I definitely didn't understand to enjoy until later in life versus when I was younger. I chose softball and volleyball over golf, but I did it in the when I was in my mid-20s to, for business, but then from there came the patience and the love of the sport for the sport of it, and also the camaraderie and the time I get to spend with the people that I get to golf with, and that was amazing. We even got to play Coto de Casa that one time down in Orange
one
County.
of my favorite courses.
My drive is much better now, though. That course is awful because there's zero fairways. However, I am way better than that horrible day. I did not do well that day, but
I kept you calm. You didn't, freak out on me, and I said, "Go sit in the car."
No.
So it was all good. I can't. I forgot that we played Coto de Casa. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a hard course.
But it was beautiful. Coto de Casa is a beautiful course. It's just, it is hard. I still think about that course because the greens are very elevated, well bunkered. So if you get in a bunker, you're actually looking up like 5 or 6 feet. And
no fairways really, because all the fairways do this.
Yeah, they do that in the trees and this. But I still just love that course, Coto de Casa. Maybe I love it for the brutal beauty that it kind of projects. And,
brutal is a good word for it.
And so if you're not focused on it, you're going to be in trouble. But man, Jay,
there's something about that too, right? And the fundamental of being a caddy, and as a golfer, most all my life, I know that the caddies are the ones with the real golf course wisdom, and they're the ones who can read the greens and can read the speeds and can understand the placement, and But from a fundamental standpoint, right? It is a very simple let me help you navigate the course. And you have to be able to read the entire map of that golf course at any given spot and be able to decipher what your golfer is capable of doing and advise him and give him the line and give him the different tools. I remember shooting one game where I was playing on a golf course, and the putting green appeared to me to be flat, like everything. And I grew up around them, so I kind of knew I could read the grain. And my caddy goes about 20 feet to the right and says, "Over here." And I'm like, but it's here. It's 12 feet, right? He goes, "Over here," which was 20 feet away. And he goes, and you really got to push it uphill. I'm like, and I did it. And it was a damn question mark. The thing moved like a question mark, and it drained. I literally tipped.
Was that the day we were at Bel Air, or was that a different course? Because those Bel Air caddies were unbelievable. I was very fortunate, Derrick, because of Sean. I got to play some of the the best courses in LA because of the friends and clients that he grew up with. And
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Beller's
I
a pretty
like-
unbelievable experience.
I like,
LA
I like
is as
Bel Air.
well.
I think it was LA North actually at the time.
Okay.
And because I could see it. It's the fourth hole. I mean, I can remember
Wow.
it because I never forgot. That was the greatest putt of my life, but it was all caddy,
funny.
and it was his knowledge.
Right.
But that's the other part too, right? And isn't that what we are as people in our society? We're mentors. Like, if I can help you, let me help you, and I want to help you.
Right.
And there's a reciprocation, right, of trust. And clearly, it's empowering people who know more to learn. You know, listening to your story so far, Derrick, like your journey, just even getting here was captivating. It's a captivating story, and you brought us back to these images that, you know, I may not relate to, but all of a sudden now I do. I can see it and I can understand it, especially in the context of these times that we're living in, where we're talking about real equity and fairness and transparency and you know, that kind of general courtesy for one another. And then I listen to it, I think, well, here's golf. And that's what I think I would share with everybody. That's a game that can really unify people. It unifies yourself within yourself, you know, because you have to accept who and what you are, and there's room for growth and improvement. It's always changing. But then there's the other idea of how to be that etiquette and how to work with other people and tempo and courtesy. And I just applaud you. I love what you do.
And also, golf just is a fortunate way of giving you insight into people. And so that's why I always recommended one thing. When I first met Jay, I used to do golf seminars for women business professionals that want to use golf as a business tool. And I go, hey, don't go shopping. Go play with the balls, because if you have free time, don't go shopping. Go play with the balls, because Georgia over there. I put it in real terms to them in my seminar. I go, look, where else are you going to call your boss, the top of the CEO, and say, hey, I got this idea on how I can move this division? And they go, well, I don't have time. Where are you? I'm in Department 6. And he'll go, well, talk to Bob in Department 7 and 8, and then I'll get back with you later. And they don't have the time for you. But if you call them and say, hey, I got this idea, what department are you in? Department 6. He go, and by the way, I have a tea time at LA Country Club next week at 8:00. Can you join us and we'll talk about it? Yeah, I'm free. Let me check my schedule. And so you're there. You're there. Right. And you get 6 hours of individual time with the CEO, and they get to know you. You get to know them, and you cannot buy that time. If you have all the money in the bank, you can't buy that time. And so anytime you can do that, you can work your way up the ladder. And it doesn't help that, or it doesn't hurt that you kind of get your game into shape at the time and you work your way up and start at the bottom. And I go, you'll get the keys to the executive washroom sooner than later.
There are two crude sayings that we say: as you evolve in business and in golf, or in sport, your balls get smaller because you start to play. It's like that evolution. And the other one is, you get to relieve yourself in the same urinal with CEOs, and but all across the block. It's the whole point,
Yeah, exactly. Let me share something with you guys also, because if you guys invite me another time, we can talk about the status and lifeblood of golf, and in particular LA, because that's our window. And I know that pulse. I understand it. I'm involved with the city and golf division. They've actually eliminated things that I thought really helped golf. They've eliminated. We used to do free golf clinics during the summer for anyone that wanted to be introduced to golf, no charge. The city would sponsor that, and basically us pros would donate our time. That's another story. I thought that they should pay the pros, but they wouldn't. But they would pay the city staff, but they wouldn't pay the pros. But so what happens is they canceled that program. They also had a program. They actually had a program where they would also do a summer program where for 6 weeks, any kid that wanted to learn how to play golf could play every Monday on any city golf course.
My kids did that one.
Yes,
yeah.
for
a very small fee. Yeah,
for $30.
Yeah.
for $30 for 6 weeks.
They did
got
that for
exposed to
6
golf.
summers. I love that one.
We did that for 20 years. They canceled that program. And I'm going like,
Yeah, because
for budget or whatever reason, I go, you guys are not looking after the best interest of junior golf.
I love that
canceling those
program.
free
So
programs.
Monday during the
And
summer, that was a great one.
They canceled
loved
all
it.
those, and then every year we would do a three-day program for free, no cost to anyone that wanted to be introduced to golf. They canceled that program. I go like,
So how do you think we can get that? I know that's obviously not a priority with all that's going on these days, but I love those programs when my kids were younger, and we took advantage of those Mondays. Gosh, since the kids were in 3rd grade, I think I started them on that.
I remember.
And,
I remember your kids rolling up in there, and I would tell your kids, I go, you know, your mom's a legend. They go like, mom can play. Yeah, mom can beat dad. I remember when Jay and Larry were first dating, you know, they would come to the golf course, and I'd say, okay, Larry, show me a swing. Then I'd say, Jay, hit one for me. And go, and I say, and I'd have to say, yeah, that's okay, Jay. Ever she booms one down at 220. Had to keep it equal there. I whisper, Larry, you better come see me when you got free time by yourself.
Actually, I'll tell you a good one,
Man.
Derrick. Here's a riddle. How can 2 people swinging the same golf club, hitting the same golf ball, get a hole-in-one? That was what I witnessed Jay Wu do at the what was the resort down there, Jay? In San Diego.
Rancho Santa Fe Country Club.
Wait, she used your club to hit a hole-in-one?
She was pregnant with Jake, I believe, and she hit a 5-iron, I think it was. It was like 150 yards, 160 yards, and she made a damn hole-in-one. I've hit 10,000 golf balls. I haven't even gotten within 8 inches. You know, and she made a hole-in-one. We just sat there and went, and she couldn't drink, so we were like, we'll drink for you.
And pregnant. So
I was 6 months pregnant, so I had the pendulum.
So you can just say all my little props that I was giving her before weren't hyperbole, huh? Yeah,
no, they're not hyperbole. No.
You guys
pregnant,
are too generous.
Pregnant with the 5-iron. Pow! Take that.
Yeah, that's it. Striped it. So we just sat there. I think I hit mine in the water after that.
Wait. If they come to me and say, "Can you get pregnant and hit a 1-iron and another life, buddy, and meet me in the alley," because that's an insult. There's going to be a fight, right?
Oh,
She can do it. So city golf.
So those programs, I miss those programs for sure.
Well, so what I've done is there's a long backstory to this, but what I did a year and a half ago was there were I don't want to make the city look bad. So all I'm gonna say is that what I did was I was having problems with my golf camps with the city, so they canceled the golf camps a summer ago. But before that, what I had done was I had started a program through my foundation, which is a golf outreach program. So I started going to all the city parks and recs and all the city, the boys and girls clubs. What had happened was the city had given me a contract to do camps at all the golf courses in the city, all 8 golf courses. And what I did was I thought that, hey, why don't I create a program where at each course, I'll go into the surrounding community within a 5 or 6 mile radius and approach boys and girls clubs, rec centers, say, hey, let's give your kids an introduction to golf. They help promote the individual golf camps that I was going to run. And so I started going to each one of these centers that connected to the golf courses, Hanson Dam, Harbor Golf Course, and try to introduce kids that wouldn't necessarily be exposed to golf. And I started giving free outreach programs. I'll send you guys, I may have sent Jay, did I send you a video, Jay? Of one of my golf outreach programs? I'll send you a couple of videos. They're amazing programs. Because initially I started with golf, but then I added a musical component where I would do chipping lessons, putting lessons, swing lessons, piano lessons. And so what I did was I hired a piano teacher to come with me when I would do an outreach program. And we would do 20, 40-minute intervals. So 20 minutes chipping, 20 minutes putting, 20 minutes piano, an introduction to piano. I bring 7 pianos, full-size keys, and I have a piano teacher introduce the kids to music. My theory behind this is that piano is music, is numbers. Golf is numbers.
Yep.
And so basically, by giving the kids golf lessons, I'm already putting them in this mindset that it elevates the critical thinking, because you have to chip it up into targets, and golf is counterintuitive. You always try to get under it, and you have to teach your kids, no, it's physics. You trap the ball and it goes up. If you want to go higher, you be more efficient in how you trap it, it goes higher. And I built targets for them to chip up, like I do my golf camps. So what happened was, I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity when I introduce them to golf, to elevate all where they're at a higher level of critical thinking. Why don't we add another complex component like music? And so I added drums, the djembes, guitar, and I started combining that with my outreach program. Amazing.
Wow.
I'll send you guys some videos. So what happened was, a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when the city decided, well, we're not going to do your golf camps. I go like, you're not going to be allowed to do your golf camps. After I'd made this amazing program, what I did was I said, okay, I'll go to Phoenix, Arizona. I'll go to Las Vegas.
I'll take it on the road. Yeah.
Wait, I went to Minneapolis. I went to St. Paul. 150 kids each time.
Wow.
I went to Lansing, Michigan. I went to Richmond, Indiana. I went to Dallas, Texas. I went to, and this was last year and the year before, I would take staff when I could afford it, and I would fly them to Dallas, Texas, Lansing, Michigan. We went to Raleigh, North Carolina, and I did golf. I did golf outreach programs all over the country. I said to myself, look, if LA doesn't want this program, someone does. And I called all these cities, and basically what I did was I asked my students to help sponsor some of the outreach programs. And so I got donations to my foundations to help. So basically what I did was I pre-positioned equipment in all those cities, chipping nets, everything. And it was just an amazing. And there's some stories in those events in themselves, because this is how I determined I was to make sure this happened, was because I remember in Minneapolis a year ago, I was in St. Paul, in Minneapolis and St. Paul in January, and it was snow on the ground. I'm going, oh, there's snow, wow. And I gave an event to 100, it was about 120 kids, and I was the only pro, because the people or the company that had committed to helping me present the event and we're going to give volunteers backed out and never showed up. So I had to get, the show, not oh no, is oh how. And the show had to go on. So I gave 150 kids golf lessons by myself. And what I did was I just positioned the staff at the Boys and Girls Club in chipping and in putting and in full swing, and said, don't let them do this. Keep them on the mats and I'll control everything. And I would go to 5 kids, get them putting. Go to 5 kids, get them chipping. Go to 5 kids, get them swinging. And I would stand in the middle and say, okay, go. Bop, 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 bop. And I told the staff, don't let them move. Don't let them do this. It went flawless.
Wow.
I remember after I finished, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because we started at 3. But I flew into Minneapolis that morning at like 6 a.m. And by 5:30, I'm sitting in the gymnasium, laying on boxes, going like, what happened?
I bet. Wow.
But I had to pack the equipment in the van and get ready for another event in St. Paul, which is right across the river, and a gymnasium that Prince built for the kids. And I'll send you guys pictures of that, which was an amazing gymnasium for the Boys and Girls Club in St. Paul. And I had to do it over again, because again, the next day in St. Paul, there was no help. I was the only pro. But just to go to show you that, but the kids were more than just thrilled and excited to be exposed to golf. And the experience teaches me that if there's a way, there's a will, and you will be rewarded if not only for the excitement, the experience, because you'll imprint these kids.
Yeah, that's true.
For life,
and that's the ripple
you know?
effect that you've had, Derrick. Well, I know that you have so many great stories. We're definitely going to have you back on the show. We're fortunate because of the time that
Very
we're
much so.
in that you have had the time to be able to join us today. Unfortunately,
It was a
because
pleasure.
your golf camp isn't going, but thanks for sharing yourself, your stories, and walking down memory lane with me. So that was pretty cool. And we put up your golf information on the Facebook Live so that people can get access to reach you.
And have them go to the, make sure you put in the AllenPacificFoundation.com.
Yes.
And they can
We'll
go
put that
there
up
and they
there
can see it.
too.
They can see everything I do. And so I'm going to need some support later on because I'm going to go to the city and I'm going to go to them and say, hey, this is how you need to change the program to make sure that not only it's inclusive, but we can prepare Los Angeles for the Olympics and showcase who we are as a city. And if golf can be the bellwether or the foundation for the quality of life in LA, I'm all for pushing that and making sure that we also make sure that the golf courses are considered great parks and not golf courses.
Agree.
And
Agree.
Yeah.
that it's a must that they don't hand these to the developers and
we'll fight that tooth and nail.
Yeah. And so,
well, you know, you got fans here. We'll definitely
do.
show up for the hearings if you need us.
Derrick, not to cut you short, I have to jump on one with the supervisor.
Got it.
And I am
nice
now
meeting you.
5 minutes late. My pleasure.
Jay, nice meeting you guys. Thank you for having me.
We'll do it again. You're
show,
awesome.
Guys.
What a
Absolutely.
great guest, dude.
See ya.
We're gonna come by and say hi. Thank you, Derrick.
Bye.
Jay, come by and get that swing taken care of, Jay.
Absolutely. I know. Thank you. Bye, guys. All right, Sean. I'll see you later. I know we're top of the hour.
Thank you. It's all good.